ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to the Goat Locker Invets Xfinity Series right here at the historic Milwaukee Mile. This is the 4th race of the season for the Invets Xfinity Series on what's shaping up to be a hard-fought battle to crown a champion in Atlanta coming up in December. We're going to bring you all the action right here on B-Speed, your #1 source of online race coverage. And as always, this race is being brought to you by Invets, helping vets in Indiana. Also being brought to you by Lincoln Tech. Put your potential to work. And Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. And I'm here, Ken Huber. Daniel Cunningham is alongside me here in the booth with Eddie Smith on production. And our cameras are being provided by Dougie Beard. So welcome back to the booth there, Daniel. Glad to have you on board here at the historic Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me up here, letting me fill in for this one. This track is a difficult one. It's going to test these drivers tonight, but y'all have had some good races over here on Sunday night, so I'm excited to see what these guys can do here.
Yeah, this is the 4th race of the season, as I mentioned at the top there, and we got quite a lineup here, 14 races where we'll end this thing in Atlanta. But tonight we're at Milwaukee, a flat track, and it's going to be good for our road course racers out there. This is a lot of fun. This is a fun track for me, actually my personal favorite. But speaking of road courses, next week we're at Watkins Glen, and then we go to a classic favorite, Charlotte, and the racing just continues as we look forward to getting to our championship weeks. So the Milwaukee Mile is a 1.015 mile paved oval racetrack located on the grounds of the Wisconsin State Fair in West Ellis, Wisconsin. It is known for its long and rich history in motorsports. The Milwaukee Mile is the oldest continuously operated motor speedway in the world, having hosted at least one auto race every year since 1903, except during World War II. The track configuration, it features 9 degrees of banking in the turns, making it drive more like a road course than a typical oval, providing exciting racing with opportunities for overtaking. And yeah, so I expect this race to be exciting. The question is whether these guys are going to hang on to it. Another thing I noticed, Daniel, is a lot of guys are shifting on this track in these Xfinity cars. You see it a lot in the trucks. I haven't seen it too much in the stock cars. How do you feel about shifting going around this place?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I know you had mentioned it in the trucks. It seems like that kind of helps the car rotate, helps you get through the turns a little bit better. One driver that is really good at this place that I'm going to be keeping an eye on this evening is Jonathan Cofield, driver that won the last 2 races at Auto Club in Darlington. So he's going to be tough to beat here this evening. I know this is one of his personal favorite racetracks as well. And then, of course, we had Frederick Seagraves won to start the season out at Talladega. So be interesting to see if anybody can unseat those guys and put their name in, lock in for that championship as we get closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, Cofield out there looking for the three-peat this week, so we'll see what he can do here at Milwaukee. He's been strong all week. Like you mentioned, Seagraves getting that win at Talladega. So we've had a couple different winners. This track is going to be probably pretty painful for a lot of guys. I don't expect it'll go caution-free. Speaking of that, we're going to have to see how many laps we got tonight. So we are looking at our race facts here. And we have 100 laps here at Milwaukee with a pit road speed of 45 miles an hour. These guys will have 4 sets of tires to deal with, including the one they start on, 2 green-white checker attempts, 100% fuel with an iRacing fixed setup. So everybody's running the same setup. No matter the manufacturer, everybody's pretty much running the same car out there.
Yeah, and something else that I just actually heard somebody mention here as they were going around in qualifying. Normally you get 2 laps, you get 2 chances at it to go out there and throw down a heater. But tonight, you only get 1 lap, so we'll see if that shakes the field up a little bit. If you make a mistake on your flying lap, that's it. You're pretty much done for qualifying, and you're going to have a lot of work to do fighting your way up through the field.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that, so that's pretty exciting for these guys. It takes probably a lap. Usually you can get your fastest lap on those fresh tires, but you're right. They've got 1 chance at this, and I was watching some of those guys, like some of our top drivers, Jeremy Gardner and Cofield. Those guys were shifting, especially on the fresh tires, trying to put in a heater lap, as you've mentioned. I'm not sure if they're out there shifting during this qualifying session, but I imagine they are, because during practice, Cofield and Gardner were in the 30.6s, and right now we're looking at our pole sitter looking at a 30.7, so a little bit off the pace from their practice times, but I imagine that's because the track's heated up a little bit too.
Yeah, track conditions have a lot to do with that. And we were riding on board there with Andy Kurtz as he put down the 4th fastest lap. He was not shifting, but there you see it. Partly cloudy, 80 degrees, track temp up there in triple digits at 100. I have a feeling that it's only going to go up more as we get through qualifying and as we get through the race. So again, already a challenging racetrack, not a ton of grip out there. You really got to stay down in that darker pavement on the bottom of the track to get that grip. And just as the track temp goes up, these guys are going to be fighting it more and more and sliding around here.
Yeah, I was able to get out there and do some practice laps myself. And so one of the key features here, or the way the car drives with the setup, is it's going to be tight entry, especially on this hot track. These guys are going to have to fight a tight entry and a loose off, throttle off loose. So look for maybe some self spins and maybe some incidents from guys spinning off the corners off 2 and 4, and then maybe some guys swinging out wide in the center of the track. Anyway, we're going to start our starting grid here for our Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award. We have Jeremy Gardner in the 69 will start on the pole and bring us to the green flag with Lucas Lyons on his outside. And starting in 3rd, we have Jonathan Cofield, our last week's winner, with Andy Kurtz on his outside. In the 99 will be Brandon Wallace starting in 5th with George Jewell starting on his outside. Wesley Burke will start in 7th with Kyle Deering on the outside. And in 9th, we got Eldon Stewart, and Tyler Rice will wrap out your top 10.
Starting just outside the top 10, we've got Joseph McWhorter in 11th, Chad Ashley starting in 12th. Rolling off in 13th is going to be Kevin Price with Jamie Lipke starting in 14th. Starting 15th, Claire Sisk in the 12 with Dave Calvert starting in 16th. 17th place is going to be Colton Sisk with Craig Bontrager outside in 18th. Rounding out the top 20, Duncan Fall in the 61 and Chuck Pegleg Phelps in 20th.
Brock Price will roll off in the 21st position with Frederick Seagraves. Our first race of the season winner will roll off in 22nd. Scott Wesley will roll off in 23rd on the inside with Doug Ellingson on his outside in 24th. Daniel Parks will start in the 25th position with Jason Kristen starting on his outside. In the 27th position will be Barrett Morton. with Bobby Bender starting in 28th on the outside. Stephen Davis will start in 20th with Nick Hagan starting in that 30th position. Aaron Yancey will start in 31st, and Gary Wright wraps out our 32-car field for tonight's race. Woo, we got the starting grid over with here. The pace car is rolling off. I'm really excited, but I'm also very nervous about this one, Daniel.
Yeah, really big field here. Awesome to see the turnout. 32 cars taking the grid here this evening. And, we've talked about it a few times. This is a really challenging racetrack. The bumpers could come into play. Might be a little bit difficult to pass. And there's a few big hitters there in the back. Also got a few guys that do have their webcams on this evening, giving us a first-hand view of what they're doing as they go around the track here. So something else that we'll check in throughout the evening.
So like I said, Jeremy Gardner is going to lead him to the green flag. And Jeremy Gardner's been telling me, he says, I'm not much of a road course racer. I'm an oval guy. But as I was saying, Milwaukee really favors road course guys. And Jeremy Gardner having that pole position with Lucas Lyons out there on his outside, we're going to see, we're going to see how he gets this done at the start of this thing, as that pace car is about to duck into pit lane. A very tricky entrance to pit lane, but as we watch the pace car duck into pit lane, they're going to get the green flag here, and we are green, so we're already green. As soon as that pace car ducked off, Jeremy Gardner trying to get going, but Lucas Lyons there on his outside trying to fight back.
And I think as we go through turn 1 and 2 here, you'll see guys start to try to get down to that bottom groove where all the grip is at. As you can see Lucas Lyons actually, though, making that top lane work, trying to take the lead from Jeremy Gardner. He is able to do so. A little bit farther in the back of the pack, you can see a lot of two wide, side-by-side guys trying to get everything they can while everyone's bunched up close. But here on lap number 1, it's Lucas Lyons. And in the back of the pack, there is an absolute melee parking lot coming off of turn 2. There are quite a few drivers involved, including a meatball on the 49 of Craig Bontrager. Just seen that pop up here. Gonna have to queue up the V-Speed instant replay for this one, Ken.
As we're watching the 80 car go around here, this is Kevin Price gets loose and then tags the wall, and then just everybody behind him nowhere to go. And if you get on the brakes hard there, you end up sliding, just everybody trying to check up and avoid it, and just gets piled up there.
And I think that was the 9 car of Barrett Morton that did a really nice job of snaking his way through there. I saw one car duck down to the inside. I believe that's who that was. Yeah, that actually was Barrett Morton as we go on board rather with him here, and just wrapping the bottom like you would tend to do at this track. And oh man, I don't know how he was able to dodge the 80 car there, and also a couple others spinning in front of him. So nice job for Morton there getting through that. And that was just about a parking lot there on the exit of 4.
Yeah, that Barrett Morton was able to move up 10 positions by avoiding that carnage. I guess he's pissing excellence, as they would say. So great job there to Barrett Morton avoiding all of that. We're going to bring him around. We're going to restack this field. Hopefully these guys get it out of their system. Like I said, that was just a simple self-spin there, but Milwaukee's one of those tricky places. There just isn't a lot of room, and you're under heavy braking. And if you got a lot of rear brake bias in that car and you stomp on those brakes, it just sends you around.
Yeah, and you even talked about it pre-race, Ken, that a lot of loose on exit at this track, and that's kind of what it looked like was, Kevin got up there outside of that bottom groove where that darker pavement is, and just once he tried to get back on the throttle, just no rear grip in that car, and once it started to come around, that was pretty much all she wrote at that point. But as you can see there, lights are off on the pace car. They are lining up 2 by 2 to get this race re-rolling. Field will be in control of Lucas Lyons when they come back around.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons will take him to the green. Jeremy Gardner now is on the outside. Lucas made that daring attempt on the fresh tires to get that lead, and let's see if he can hold on to it now with Jeremy on his outside. Jonathan Cofield will start third on the inside. Andy Kurtz on the outside. Brandon Wallace and Eldon Stewart wrap out your top 6 as we come around the final couple of corners before we go green.
Lucas Lyons being the control car. We'll see what kind of jump that he can get as we get back rolling here in that number 17 Jimmy Johnson looking scheme. Pace car is going to make that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. As they head to the restart zone, Lucas Lyons does get a really nice jump over the 69 of Jeremy Gardner. He's going to easily clear as they get down into turn one. Cofield into third. Battle is on for fourth on back behind him.
Yeah, we got Andy Kurtz, Eldon Stewart there side by side. Just behind him, we got a loose car up front there. I believe that was the 50. But yeah, Doug Ellingson slow on the track right now, looking like he's trying to make his way back around. As we watch these guys come around the final couple of corners to get a lap complete under green. You can see some cars getting loose there. I'm just checking to see who that was. That was the 72 of McWhorter, who was a little loose coming off that corner. He's trying to make up positions. McWhorter, a very fast car out there, right alongside that 99 car on the outside of Brandon Wallace. And you can see those two battling side by side still as they go down the backstretch. McWhorter with the advantage as they go into the corners. But with these fresh tires, that allows Brandon Wallace to try to hang in there. This is what I kind of consider like a big Martinsville. This place races like a big, giant Martinsville.
Yeah, it can definitely be challenging like Martinsville as well. As Joseph McWhorter able to clear up into the fourth position there. He's actually up 7 spots from where he started. Didn't quite have the qualifying run that we are used to seeing out of that 72 car. So right on board with McWhorter here. He's going to look to the inside of Jonathan Cofield over in 3 and 4. Cofield higher up the racetrack. Actually just lets him go here at this point. You can see also on our telemetry there, Joseph McWhorter is shifting and utilizing third gear through the turn. So something that you had talked about earlier, these guys going to be shifting, trying to use that to get momentum, get the car to rotate. And it is working really well right now for that 72 car.
Yeah, one of the disadvantages for shifting, though, is you're putting a lot of rear bias in that car, and that really heats up the rear tires. So as these tires start to age, he could be slipping and sliding a little bit more than usual, some of the guys that aren't shifting. But as we see him make a attempt here for second on Jeremy Gardner, tried to root him off the bottom there, couldn't do it. Now Jeremy Gardner going to the inside of Lucas Lyons. It looks like Lucas Lyons just lets him by there. Now Lucas Lyons finds him under threat with McWhorter on his inside. And it looks like McWhorter is going to clear him as they go down the backstretch.
And actually yellow flag is out on the racetrack. That is the 47 of Nick Hagan. He is upside down on pit road. I didn't quite catch what happened at the beginning there, but, you know, most likely a spin that he just hit those barrels at the end of pit lane.
You know,
and yeah, I mean, he was just upside down by the time we caught him. And oh my God, good Lord. That was not quite what I thought it was. See, Daniel Parks got a piece of it too. And
yeah,
that's got to be about the slowest barrel roll I think I've ever seen on iRacing. And I'm sorry that I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at 47's misfortune, I promise. It's just iRacing physics sometimes. You got to love it. That was the slowest barrel roll I've ever seen.
Hey, we get some entertainment tonight as we're riding along with Nick Hagan here. He's going to get a quick tow to pit lane here all by himself. Goes upside down, gets tagged by Sisk here, hits that inside pit lane wall, goes over the top, and then he's right next to his pit stall. So a quick tow, maybe a couple seconds, and he's on his pit stall.
And what an onboard view we had there. Shades of Ricky Bobby just upside down on his roof. So definitely not the outcome that the 47 was hoping for. And actually, you know, the most unfortunate thing about that for Nick Hagan is he was actually caught up in that first wreck as well, had already used his fast repair and now has another meatball flag. So a very quick end to the race here is, yeah, that was just unfortunate. Little overcorrection there, and just the 18 of Colton Sisk, wrong place, wrong time there as well. So that's going to be that might be a night ender for both of them, as I believe Colton Sisk had to use his fast repair early on as well.
Yeah, and aero is somewhat important here. You wouldn't think so, unlike Martinsville where you can get away with a pretty damaged car. Here the speeds are a little higher. You need that front downforce to kind of get around the car. So if, you know, hopefully these guys were able to get a quick repair if they hadn't used it on the first incident, get that car repaired and get it out there. Colton Sisk, it looks like, not sure, I'm just checking. Yeah, he's still on pit lane. And then I want to Nick Hagan on pit lane as well. So both these guys looks like trying to get that damage beat out. But Jeremy Gardner back up front as the lights go out on top of the pace car is going to lead us back to the green flag here. With McWhorter on his outside now, Lucas Lyons finds himself back in third with Jonathan Cofield out there in fourth on his outside. Eldon Stewart on the inside in fifth with Brandon Wallace in the 99 on the outside, wrapping out your top 6.
Yeah, the rest of the top 10, Andy Kurtz, Tyler Rice, Duncan Fall, and Wesley Burke as they currently run on track. So, you know, Duncan Fall is actually somebody that's up 10 spots from where he started at. So a lot of really nice progress there. A couple other guys, Barrett Morton and Stephon Davis, both up over 10 spots from where they started as well. So a lot of people that have been able to move up here, see who can continue that climb as we get ready to go back green.
Kind of the secret here at Milwaukee, you know, stay clean and you probably get a good finish. Anyway, the pace car is about to duck into pit lane, and we should see that green flag come out almost immediately. And we are under green. Jeremy Gardner is going to take him to the line. Gets an excellent start there on McWhorter there as they going to turn 1. Lucas Lyons trying to look to the inside there. McWhorter can't quite get there. They'll go single file in down the backstretch.
Yeah, top 3, 4 cars now have started to single file out. First side-by-side battle was back there with Brandon Wallace, but up here at the front, Joseph McWhorter, he's going to send it in down on the bottom. He is side-by-side with Jeremy Gardner. Gardner up in that top groove, able to carry a little bit of momentum. McWhorter not able to complete that pass as of yet, but going into turn 1, it looks like Gardner is going to back off and let him have that position for now. Put the 72 to the top of the pylon.
Yeah, that turn 1, that visualization for getting your brake markers is a little more tricky than turn 3 coming in here. It's very easy to see where you're going to hit the brakes, but turn 1 has got a tricky, the exit of pit lane there. The wall, it kind of is deceiving where you need to make that corner entry, and I think that's what caught Gardner off a little bit and letting him have that position. But they're all single file now. Lucas Lyons tried to take a peek earlier as we got some battling going on behind these guys.
Yeah, there was actually just a really big moment with this pack of cars. The 99 of Brandon Wallace had some contact with the 61 of Duncan Fall. Everybody able to get it gathered back up and keep on going. No caution, nobody in the wall, but a lot of spots lost for that 99 car who had started up in the top 10 and now has lost all of that track position that he had earlier.
Well, the nice thing about Milwaukee is you can make it back up here, like I said, if you keep it clean, and that's what Brandon's going to have to do. So lost a bunch of positions after starting in that 5th spot. So we'll see if he can make his way back up towards the front as he's working on the 90 of Dave Calvert just ahead of him. Oh, and then he's got a battle on the outside. Somebody swings it in there on the outside there. That's the 90 of Dave Calvert in that white and teal number 90 car.
Yeah, Calvert was in the middle there, and that was George Jewell with just an absolute power move up there on the outside. He took it 3 wide and was able to make a nice pass there and gain a couple of spots in one turn. So really nice move there by the 36. And he's up now to that number 17 position. George Jewell actually had started up near the front of the pack. It started in 6th place, but lost a lot of that track position on one of the earlier incidents, so trying to recover from that earlier spin.
Claire Sisk there in the 12 car as we watch that 36 of George Jewell go by, got into the wall there. That's what slowed up Claire Sisk there, and it gets into the wall again, so really struggling with that 12 car just behind him there.
Yes, we take a look on board here with the 12. And, you know, it's just, this track is so challenging if you're running up in that, you know, lighter gray asphalt up top. It's really easy to push off the turns, make some contact with the wall. You can see Brandon Wallace in the 99 goes by. That's Chuck Pegleg. Feltz now on the bottom is going to go by for position as well. So put Sisk back to 19th. And, oh, you can see a lot of counter steer in that car off the exit of 4, just struggling with the grip on that machine right now.
Yeah, really, in that corner, that high corner entry there, probably didn't want to send it down to the bottom because it seems like really struggling with that 12 car right now, getting it around the track right now, and we're back under caution.
Caution is out, and that is Chad Ashley in the 54 with big damage. Actually sounds like the engine just blew on that car, and actually going to tow it back to pit road here as we queue up the V-Speed instant replay. See what happened to the 54 machine. kind of following along here, and you can see, gets those right side tires just ever so slightly off of that darker pavement. Car starts to come around on him, and then just nose first into the outside wall, or into the inside wall rather. Really heavy contact and a lot of damage on that car.
Well, we're back up with our leaders. It's going to be interesting now that we're 20 laps into this, whether there's going to be any takers for pit lane. So these guys can go about 80 laps on a tank of fuel. So they're right in the window right now as we see if we do have takers. It looks like everybody's down low. Looks like they want to make that entrance into pit lane. And it looks like almost everyone's going to head to pit lane.
Yeah, most of our leaders will go ahead and take advantage of this caution to come down pit road. And, you know, something that you had talked about earlier, it's a tricky entrance, even under caution. You know, I've seen a lot of guys here that have actually gotten that unsafe pit entry just because of where the commit line is and how sharp the turn is. So we'll see if anybody ends up being bitten by that here on this pit cycle. But looks like there also was a handful of drivers that have stayed out. Looks like George Jewell, Chuck Pegleg Phelps, Yancey Price, and Seagraves all decided to stay out. I believe we may have even had some fuel only, as Duncan Fall is now in 6th as well, but did come down pit road. So bit of a mixed bag here on strategy.
Yeah, and that's always scary when you got cars in front, maybe on older tires and you're on fresh tires, especially at a track like this. So these guys are going to have to be careful navigating these cars that have made their way up front. Of course, these guys might have something for them too. You never know. So while we got a break here, why don't we talk about one of our sponsors? Let's talk about Lincoln Tech. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They're the title sponsor of the series and are a very large partner of Goat Locker Racing. Lincoln Tech, putting your potential to work. All right, sorry about that, Daniel.
Oh, no, you're good. Just a bit of housekeeping real quick with the drivers that stayed out. You can see that last lap pit over there. A few of them did take advantage of that last caution. That was George Jewell, Chuck Phelps, Price, and Seagraves both took advantage of that and came down and got their service earlier. So not necessarily older tires. Yancey did pit earlier as well. So still a bit of a mixed bag of strategy, but not from the very beginning of the race. So we'll see how they can hold on here as we get ready to go back green.
Well, we are going green. Pace car ducking into pit lane, and we are green flag. George Jewell on the inside gets a heck of a start there. Going to lead him into turn 1. Chuck Phelps there on the outside in the Save 22 machine. Will keep it up high. It's going to allow Scotty Yancey to get to his inside almost. Stacks up a little bit behind him. We're 2 by 2 for that 3rd position.
And Joseph McWhorter made a big move to the inside, just about 4 wide as they went down into turn number 1. He is already back up to the number 3 spot. Make that P2 now as he goes to the inside of Chuck Pegleg Phelps. The other drivers, though, that did stay out, doing a pretty nice job so far, but you can see just absolute calamity here with guys trying to make moves as the 48 of Andy Kurtz is around. Tyler Rice involved as well. The 9 of Barrett Morton got a big piece of that. Quite a few drivers. You can also see Craig Bontrager caught up in that as well. And the 48 of Andy Kurtz definitely got the worst of it there. Take a look on the instant replay. He was riding in line behind Cofield. That's the 53 there directly in front of him. And it looks like just got in just a little too hot there. Maybe a little bit earlier checkup in front of him than what he was anticipating. And when he got on the brakes to try to avoid him, just around goes the 48.
Yeah, this is one of the things about cold tires. You know, they got these cold tires out there. Going to try to charge it into 1 here, and you can see that's that entry, a tricky entry. It's hard to judge your braking zone there with that pit wall. I even struggled with it getting down in there, and I think that's what that 48 was dealing with and on cold tires, and just sent him around.
Yeah, quite a few drivers that did get caught up in that one. So working another caution here. George Jewell, though, still out in front at this point on that pit strategy call. Joseph McWhorter did a nice job getting back up there to 2nd already. Chuck Peglake-Velt's hanging on in third, Duncan Faw and Scotty Yancey, your top 5. So quarter of the way through the race here, we've already seen a few wrecks take some guys out. We've seen a bit of a difference of pitch strategy, and still got quite a ways to go here. So, even though it looks like Joseph McWhorter may be the fastest one in the field so far, just with how he's been able to cut through and make passes and work his way up, you still don't have a great idea of how this race may fall.
No, I don't know, because he is shifting too, so I don't know how that's going to impact his tires on a long run, but maybe that's his thought process. He's probably maybe thinking that there isn't going to be any long runs and just, go through those tires and make it from caution to caution. McWhorter, you also mentioned, I hate to keep bringing him up, but he started in the 11th position, worked his way almost up to the front. And then we had cautions. Well, he did make his way up to the front. Then we had cautions, drop back again, and then within one lap, he's running in second place. So a heck of a run. Meanwhile, Jeremy Gardner, our pole sitter, hasn't had quite the success. He's sitting back there in 12th right now after starting on the pole. And after that cycle of pit stops, finds himself almost mid-pack. So Jeremy Gardner struggling right now in the quarter point of this race. We'll see if he can make his way back up front and maybe have something to say to McWhorter later on.
Yeah, a couple of guys there also with Cofield. As you can see, he'll definitely be a factor in this race before it finishes out as well. So just, it's hard. It can be so difficult when you get behind on track position, trying to work your way back up there. But one driver that's not worried about it is that 36 of George Jewell. He has got the track position. He's going to be the control car as we get ready to go back green.
So the pace car is about to duck off into pit lane. George Jewell will lead him to the green flag. He had a heck of a start the last time, but this time he's got McWhorter on his outside, and the green flag will come out pretty much when that pace car ducks in, and we are green flag. And you can see side by side just a little bit, and they'll stay side by side going into one, and to see if George Jewell can hang on to it as he's under a lot of pressure. McWhorter on the outside, really strong there. Little sideways, a little touch. McWhorter's going to clear him going down the backstretch.
It looked like just a little bit of contact there. Nothing very substantial between the 36 of George Jewell, but that was a little more substantial. Jewell into the back of McWhorter, started to go around, but somehow keeps it going straight for now. But then he tags the 53 of Cofield. Bontrager also gets spun as part of the checkup there. Tyler Rice goes around again as well in that. So that was not a pretty moment there, going through 3 and 4 on that restart. Couple of cars going around on that.
Yes, we're riding along with George Jewell here, and this is right after. So here, we backed it up a little bit here. It's right behind McWhorter. You can see him get in really deep, touches the back bumper there. You can see a damage to McWhorter there. Gets it sideways, gets it collected, probably cleaning out his drawers right now, and then he gets into another car here on his outside, and that sends him around and collects up everybody else.
Yeah, Jonathan Cofield just nowhere to go down there on the bottom, trying to avoid the rest of that incident. And just an innocent bystander there. It looks like Scotty Yancey, I believe that was, that George Jewell made the door contact with. And then, I'm sorry, that's Wesley Burke. Apologies. 03 and 04. I got the numbers a little confused there, but yeah, and then just nowhere for Cofield to go. You see some pretty substantial damage to the back of that number 53 car as well. So going to be difficult to recover and work his way back up. And yeah, I didn't see what quite happened
there, it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't quite see what happened. Looks like, they were trying to check up to get the pit road, and Bontrager got into the back of Tyler Rice. So yeah, another little incident there coming into the pits.
Well, you mentioned it, Daniel. Even under caution, getting into pit lane can be tricky, and these guys are proving you right here. So, yeah, tough break for those guys. What a way to just have an accident under caution here.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for those drivers. But Joseph McWhorter now back up front. Lucas Lyons has worked his way back up to the number 2 position with Duncan Faw in third. Another driver that you had talked about there right before we went green, Jeremy Gardner, he's now back up into the 6th position. So the lights are out on the pace car, going to get them lined up side by side here. And something we haven't actually seen so far this evening, Joseph McWhorter, your race leader, he's going to elect to start on that top groove on the outside here. Everybody else we've seen take the bottom. So curious decision out of the 72. Not sure if maybe he feels like there's more speed out there, or maybe just tried it to see what happens, see if it works better for a little bit later.
Yeah, I wonder if because he's shifting, that's allowing him to get the momentum off the corner. He's got a little bit of damage on the rear of that car. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but Lucas Lyon's pretty aggressive himself, so I think he's going to be under intense pressure to hold on to that position, see if Lucas Lyon sends it into turn 1. See how these guys are going to get through the next couple of corners here. Hopefully we can keep it clean and green here for you folks here as we're coming to the green flag. Pace car about to duck into pit lane. Got McWhorter on the outside, is going to take him to the flag, and we're green. And McWhorter gets a heck of a jump. Lucas Lyon slow on that start. Gets Scotty Yancey, had to check up, keep from hitting him. And that puts Scotty Yancey under pressure.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if maybe Lucas spun the tires a little bit down there on the bottom, or just wasn't ready for that launch of when Joseph McWhorter went in the restart zone, but definitely not the start he was looking for. A little bit further back behind them, though. Battle is on for 4th. Jeremy Gardner on the bottom. Scotty Yancey running way up the track in that lighter gray area where there's just not quite the grip. That is going to allow Jeremy Gardner to take that number 4 position, and they're 3 wide for position behind him.
Yeah, Eldon Stewart there, almost a sandwich there, trying to get clear of those 2 cars behind him. I think that's Chuck Feltz and Yancey, or I'm sorry, Chuck Feltz and I already lost my place here. That's the 4 car of Eldon Stewart. So I'm sorry, Wesley Burke and Jamie Lipke just behind him now.
Yeah, Chuck Pegleg Feltz starting to fall back just a little bit here on those slightly older tires than the rest of the field. As we can see here, Chuck, one of the drivers that does have his webcam up this evening, putting on the gun show for us here, is that 75 car, trying to work his way around and hang on to that track position. And yeah, as you can see here, doing a good job hanging on in that 7th place right now, but he has got an absolute hornet's nest behind him from 8th place on back. That's Scotty Yancey up the track. Barrett Morton there trying to go 3 wide in the middle, but boy, does it get tight quick off of that corner exit. There's still going to be 3 wide, and Barrett Morton is around after that contact. Just makes ever so slight contact with the rear end of that car into the wall. And yeah, 3 wide is not advised here at Milwaukee. Does not work out very well in most instances.
No, those guys are playing a game of chicken there, going 3 wide, and nobody gave.
Yeah, definitely not the position that you want to be in. As you can see here, Barrett Morton 3 wide in the middle. And I'm not sure if it looked like maybe Yancey might have come down just a little bit and maybe didn't know if it was 3 wide. It's kind of hard to tell from the onboard there. Maybe came down and made just a little bit of contact that sent Barrett Morton into the 16 of Jamie Lipke, and should get a good angle of it here. Yeah, it moved down just a little bit, probably just taking his normal line into the turn, and that just pushed Barrett Morton down into the 16 there.
Yeah, unfortunate for those guys as we're back under caution for, I want to say, let's see how many times this is our 6th caution of the night. So guys struggling out here with this hot track, this flat track. And, we've seen it happen on cold tires, and usually once they get the tires warmed up, we can get some green flag runs, and the cars seem to become a little bit more stable, but not so far tonight.
Yeah, definitely a tough start here with these early cautions. But, while we've got one of these early cautions, just want to give a shout out to one of our league sponsors. We were following along with Chuck Pegleg Feltz there running that Save 22 machine. So I want to give them a quick shout out. Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Their unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, educate. Appreciate everything that Save 22 does to support this series. As you can also see over there on the left-hand side, do have some takers on pit lane under this caution flag.
Yeah, we got a few as we're approaching the halfway. Not quite there, almost to lap 40 when we take the green flag. So they'll have 60 laps. So I imagine some of these guys, whether they were involved in the incident or maybe some of the guys a little bit further back taking tires, as we're looking at Duncan Fall right now after he made his pit stop. Duncan Fall was having a good night. He was up there in the top 10, or actually in the top 5 when all that action transpired. So he gave up a lot of positions to come back to the back here and see if he can race up on fresh tires.
Yeah, kind of been a roller coaster night for him so far. He's been, he's been in the back, worked his way up to the front, used a little bit of pit strategy to get up there as well. Now finds himself buried a little bit further back yet again, but one of the faster drivers here in the series, so would not be surprised to see him work his way up through the field. So you can see lights off on the pace car again. Joseph McWhorter yet again picking that outside lane for the restart. See if Lucas Lyons can fire off a little bit better here on this one.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons, I think, like you said, he had that little bit of tire slip on the last restart. Allowed some guys to get into his back bumper there, was able to hang on to it, didn't cause an incident. But anyway, the pace car is about to duck into pit lane with McWhorter leading him on the outside. Lucas Lyons on his inside. Jeremy Gardner back there on the inside. See what he's got as we're back under green. Lucas gets a better start this time, but McWhorter is able to pull him going into turn 1.
Yeah, much better restart for the 17 of Lucas Lyons. Timed it up really well. As you said, McWhorter able to clear for the lead, but Lucas Lyons right there on his back bumper through 1 and 2. McWhorter pulls just a couple car length gap as they head down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4, looking from the back bumper of that 72 at the front end of Lucas Lyons. And Lucas doing a pretty good job of keeping pace with him right now. And behind him, Jeremy Gardner has cleared for that number 3 position. So top 3 kind of single filed out for right now. But
well, the
back
0-4
behind them, position battle is on.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the 2 4 cars, the 0-4 and 4 car, Eldon Stewart and Wesley Burke went at it for a lap. They got that battle sorted out. As you can see, the 0-4, Wesley Burke putting pressure on Jeremy Gardner. But the 4 cars were going at it. The Mountain Dew car just behind him there of Eldon Stewart looking really strong tonight. So great run for him.
Yeah, done a really nice job of working his way up through the pack. Somebody that I've seen race in our Premier Series that I've been calling here at Goat Locker. Shown a lot of speed here early on in the season. One of the newer drivers to Goat Locker, but definitely already making a name for himself is that 4 of Eldon Stewart. Wesley Burke, another one of the newer drivers here as well. He's starting to make a name for himself. He's up there trying to put some pressure on Jeremy Gardner for that number 3 position.
Yeah, Gardner was strong. He's our pole sitter. Looks to the inside going into 1. This is a tricky corner to get your brake zone right. You see him get on the inside fender there of Jeremy Gardner, the 69 there on his outside as we ride along with him. Can't quite make the position here as they go down the backstretch. Maybe make another attempt going into 3 here.
Yeah, Wesley Burke, somebody that's been running here in Goat Locker in that Thursday night late model series, maybe putting some of those tips and tricks to use as he tackles the Milwaukee Mile here this evening. See, doing a really nice job following right in behind Jeremy Gardner, but just not quite able to get enough of a run to get up there and try to duck underneath of Gardner for that number 3 position as of yet.
Yeah, and Gardner, I think, might be biding his time a little bit. Seeing if McWhorter, being that McWhorter is shifting, I'm not sure that Jeremy Gardner is, but maybe McWhorter will wear out those rear tires and allow those 2 cars behind him to reel him in of Lucas Lyons and Gardner, and Burke for that matter.
Following along with the 69 of Jeremy Gardner here, taking a look at his telemetry over on the left-hand side. He is not shifting. You can see there, staying in 4th gear the whole way around the racetrack. He's really starting to heat up Lucas Lyons for that number 2 position. Looks like Lucas is just going to let him go here, trying not to burn his stuff up, just going to make the wise decision and say, hey, there's a lot of racing left. Try to settle this out a little bit later. Put Jeremy Gardner up to 2nd position now. And be curious to see, you've been talking about the difference in shifting versus not shifting. As you can see there, McWhorter in 3rd gear through turns 1 and 2. So 2 very distinct driving styles between our top 2 drivers of how to get around this racetrack. we're going to see how it plays out. But that last time by, Jeremy Gardner about 1.5 faster than Joseph McWhorter, even with getting around Lucas Lyons for position.
Yeah, speaking of Lucas Lyons is starting to feel some pressure there from Wesley Burke back behind him. So Wesley Burke closing into this top three himself as they go through the couple of corners here onto the backstretch here. You can see that what looks to be a multicolored, I want to say Napoleon colored car, but that isn't it. But he's putting pressure on Lucas. Lucas struggling a little bit with the rear end of that car. It looks like that car is loosened up on him, might have a lot of bias in there. You can see that car kind of slip sliding around there as they exit the corner, both of them for that matter.
Yeah, a lot of drivers just struggling with the rear grip here so far. And we had talked about that track temperature early in the race, something that these drivers are fighting with here this evening, trying to get these rear tires hooked up. Had a really good view of it there on the exit of 2, looking at the back of that 17 car, just dancing around and able to keep it under control for now. But, you know, we had talked about that battle for the lead that may be coming up here. Jeremy Gardner has closed it down to a gap of 0.4 of a second, still running about 1/10 a lap faster than the 72. So maybe those tires, the difference of shifting versus not shifting, starting to come into play here.
Another great battle shaping up behind him there. We got Duncan Faw looking at the inside right now, trying to get by Stefan Davis. This is all the way back for the 7th and 6th position. Duncan Faw moving his way back up after that pit stop that last cycle. So Duncan Faw out there on those fresh tires, getting that Toyota around this track. He's hustling it right now, making his way back up front.
Yeah, he was the highest restarting driver that did come down and take those 4 tires on that last caution, putting them to good use here. He had started well outside the top 10, now in that number 6 position. So, you know, he's turning the fastest lap times, really, aside from our top 2 drivers. They're still turning faster lap times, but he's putting down some really competitive laps here. Wouldn't surprise me to see him make his way up here and be a factor in this before the end of the race as well. But as you can see there, Jeremy Gardner just keeps inching in closer and closer to that 72 of Joseph McWhorter. Gardner able to just do a little bit better job wrapping that bottom, able to keep the car a little bit lower. Whereas you can see Joseph McWhorter, it looks like, is sliding that front end of the car just a little bit, dancing with that transition between the 2 different types of pavement there in the turns, searching for grip, trying to get the car to rotate.
Yeah, and I think Jeremy Gardner's doing a great job of opening up that wheel on the exits there. And McWhorter might be starting to struggle, like you said, with the rear tires that he's been shifting. And that's allowing Gardner to come back and reclaim the lead where he started tonight. And after some adversity and getting back after some cautions, getting back in the mid-pack of the field, finds himself now battling McWhorter for the lead halfway through this race.
And one thing with Jeremy Gardner in any of the Goat Locker series that we've seen him race in, the long runs seem to suit him, seem to be his strong point, proving to be the case here again this evening as he's trying to chase down that 72 of McWhorter. McWhorter running a little bit higher line than even what we had seen previously. This is about the closest that Jeremy Gardner has been now on corner exit, as there's actually a caution a little bit further back. That is Craig Bontrager in the 49. Scotty Yancey, it looks like, in the 03 as well. So damage for both of those drivers, and especially for Craig Bontrager, this has not been the race that he was looking for. Been caught up in multiple incidents. Have to go back and take a look at what happened here between those 2 drivers to get the full picture of it. But see, they're going through turns 3 and 4 here, just both of them up the track a little bit. And yeah, it looks like the 49 maybe started getting loose before that contact even happened. And then Barrett Morton with a little bit of contact there to Scotty Yancey as well, just getting a piece of that also.
Yeah, taking another look at it here. Bontrager up front in that teal car here. I think Bontrager got up high, and then Yancey down before, just kind of followed him up the track. They get together a little bit right there. It looks like, yeah, right there. You can see Bontrager check up. They were both up high. Looks like Yancey couldn't keep it on the bottom, and Yancey's trying to go, and Bontrager can't get out of the way. So, yeah, unfortunate break for both those guys. As we got our leaders on pit road.
We do indeed have a lot of takers on pit road under this caution. Duncan Fall, that just had recently pitted, as well as Kyle Deering, they are not going to come down pit road. They're going to be the first two to stay out. But most of our leaders and most of our front runners do elect to come down and get those fresher tires. And we really saw it starting to make a difference there with Duncan Fall and how he was able to move through the field.
Yeah, this is going to change things up. It looks like McWhorter is going to win the race off pit road. Really tight exit there. Got Bontrager mixed up in that those group of cars coming out. Jeremy Gardner will follow McWhorter out. So those will be the first two guys on fresh tires, but they got a handful of cars ahead of them that did not pit. So looks like we got Duncan Fall, Kyle Deering, Jamie Lipke, Frederick Seagraves. We haven't talked about him tonight, but he's out there running in fourth right now. Did not pit. Claire Sisk and Bobby Bender. None of those guys elected. Yeah.
Yeah, they all did stay out. And on a little bit older tires here, 17 laps for everybody except Frederick Seagraves. He is currently at 25 laps on this stint. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting on this restart with the way that this is going to stack up. And it's really going to come down to who can work their way through these older tires quicker. And we saw it out of Joseph McWhorter earlier. He was able to do a really nice job of that. We'll have to see if he's able to do that again here.
Well, Duncan Fall is going to start on the outside. He's electing to take that outside line. He is on a little bit older tires, but he's probably on the freshest tires of all those guys, and one of the quickest guys. So if he can escape this crowd, that's going to allow him to put some distance. Who McWhorter and Gardner are trapped back there in the 7th and 8th position. So if Fall can run out some distance, that might be to his advantage right now. And you got to imagine that is what he's looking forward to. As the pace car is about to duck onto pit lane here, we are green, and we see Duncan gets a great run there on the outside. Battle for second right now. Seagraves going on the outside trying to take it.
Oh, and they're 3 wide going down into turn 1. That's Joseph McWhorter on the bottom, trying to split everybody there. As you can see, Jeremy Gardner up on that top groove. That was Claire Sisk stuck in the middle between them. But Joseph McWhorter able to make the big move and get around. Jeremy Gardner still up on that top groove. 3 wide with Wesley Burke on the bottom. Claire Sisk in the middle. They are all able to get through. We've seen 3 wide be treacherous multiple times here this evening. Lucas Lyons able to work his way through as well. Claire Sisk struggling in that 12 on the older tires. Just kind of a sit and duck up there on that top groove. But Joseph McWhorter, as he did earlier when he got behind on the tire strategy, makes quick work of quite a few cars. He clears up into the number 3 position. Duncan Fall and Kyle Deering directly ahead here.
That was unbelievable. You can see McWhorter's really working that car, getting to the inside there of Kyle Deering. As we have the number 4 car back there, that's Eldon Stewart. Got a little sideways back there. We're back up front here with Kyle Deering, or Duncan Fall and Kyle Deering. And Joseph McWhorter makes another pass there on Kyle Deering, and now looking at that first place guy of Duncan Fall.
Yeah, put McWhorter up to the number 2 position. You could see it when he went through turns 1 and 2 there. He was all the way down on that rumble strip through the turns trying to find some open racetrack. Does the same through 3 and 4. He is side by side with Duncan Fall, looking to the inside in turn number 1. See if he can make it stick. Puts those fresher tires to use, gets the power down. He's going to clear for the lead off of turn 2.
Yeah, Duncan in that 61 made a gallant effort to try to hold it there on the outside, but those old tires just didn't pay off for him now that McWhorter's on the fresh tires. And that's kind of what Duncan didn't want to see. He didn't want to see McWhorter make such a power move to get his way back up front. It would just happen so quick. We've seen that time and time again with McWhorter just racing his way up. Within a lap, he seems to gain 5 positions every lap.
Yeah, just making really aggressive moves, but really good moves on those restarts. As you can see, Duncan Fall now having the pressure put on for that number 2 position. That is Wesley Burke and Lucas Lyons side by side directly behind the 61. 04 car of Burke looking to the inside, has those fresher tires, able to make that pass. He's going to clear for position as Lucas got really loose there off of turn number 4, still able to maintain that side by side with Duncan Fall. He's going to look to clear for the number 4 position now, or number 3 position rather.
Yeah, Lucas Lyons, we see Bontrager there in the pits, went into the pits. Something happened. It looks like he's called in tonight. Brandon Wallace, excuse me. Brandon Wallace, something happened here with Brandon Wallace. Just heads into pit lane. Calls it a night, maybe a mechanical problem with that car, and brings that car into pit lane and retires.
Yeah, he's been involved in a couple of incidents this evening, so not sure if maybe he had some lingering damage from one of those previous ones or what may have happened there to the 99 car, but looks like he has called it a night at this point. It's back on the track. Jeremy Gardner now up to that number 4 position as Duncan Fall continues to just slide back here on that tire disadvantage. Side by side for 6 behind him, though. It's Jonathan Cofield in the 53, Eldon Stewart in the 4. Cofield wrapping that bottom lane, trying to get around and complete the pass.
Yeah, Cofield, last week's winner, trying to get that three-peat. He's got some work to do. McWhorter and Gardner are very fast tonight. Still side by side there with that 4 car of Eldon Stewart, that Mountain Dew car down on his outside. He's also got the 61 of Duncan Fall just ahead of him. Oh, and he gets loose. Cofield's going to have to back up a little bit. Now continues side by side with the 4 car. So that 61 was kind of in his way to get the momentum off the track to get by the 4. So Cofield's struggling with that 61 just ahead of him.
Yeah, Cofield was really loose there off of that turn, but it looks like he's going to be able to complete the pass on Eldon Stewart. Going to try to set sights now on Duncan Fall and get up into that top 5. Like just a little tight there through the middle of the turn. Thought he was going to make a little bit of door banging contact there. Able to keep it under control. He clears up into the top 5 now. Oh, as there is contact between Stewart and Fall. That was a pretty big shot to the back end of the 61 there. Did a nice job of hanging on to it. But that's going to put Eldon Stewart up to 6th. And you got to think Duncan Fall probably isn't too happy about that move.
No, you can see the damage on the back of that car. So that was a pretty hard hit, but did a heck of a job keeping it up there, running up against the outside wall and keeping it green. We got another battle back there. Kyle Deering right now on the outside of the 09 car. Stephen Davis gets by on the inside there.
Yeah, Kyle Deering, another one of those that elected to stay out on that last caution. Has not worked out quite the way he had hoped to this point as he has slid back to that 10th position. Jamie Libke directly behind him. She's another one that stayed out on that last caution. And then you see Chuck Pegleg Feltz there in 12th. So Jamie Libke actually has one of our driver cams this evening. Going to take a look right on board here with the number 16. Trying to make that pass on Kyle Deering down on the bottom.
Yeah, he stays down on the inside there, trying to look for a move as they round this corner through 3 and 4. Car gets very loose here on exit. You can see a little bit of counter steering, or actually turned into it down low, so that car was a little free there. And now he's under pressure from the 75. Chuck Feltz is going to get around him.
And Chuck does have the tire advantage as they run right now. Chuck did come down and pit on that last caution. You could also see the 43 of Brock Price there as well, trying to take advantage and go around up on the high groove. Haven't seen a whole lot of people trying to make those passes up on the top lane, but sometimes, especially with this track, you just got to go where they ain't. And if you got the grip in the tires to make it stick, go ahead and send it up there. Not quite able to make it work on the high groove that time. Maybe even a little bit of a kiss with the wall there for the 43, but slides back in behind Jamie Libke now. We'll try to get it gathered back up as we ride on board.
Yeah, Price took that hit on the wall trying to get around Jamie there. We're going to see if he makes another attempt there. It looks like there's a battle there with Chuck Feltz and Kyle Deering there just ahead of him. So Chuck Feltz making a move on Kyle Deering just ahead of him there. So Kyle Deering dropping back a spot.
Yeah, definitely for those guys that stayed out on that last caution, it seems like you almost needed to have what Duncan Fall had the last time he did this move and have a caution about 10, 11, 12 laps after that just to kind of make it work, get a little bit off cycle yourself, and then you can kind of use those fresher tires to get back up there as well. So starting to slide back, as you can see, it looked like Jamie Libke was a little bit loose getting in on entry there. It kind of looked like the back end of that car trying to step out. But back up here, closer to the front of the field, battle is on for second. It is more than on. That was contact between Lucas Lyons and Wesley Burke, throwing some elbows up there for that number 2 position. That's actually going to allow Jeremy Gardner to get by Lucas Lyons for third. Jonathan Cofield trying to find his way by as well.
Yeah, that was a free position there for Jeremy Gardner with those two guys battling out there. Jeremy didn't really have to use his tires to get by those two guys, or at least Lucas Lyons for that matter, but now he's going to set his sights on Wesley Burke, trying to get back into that second position. Jeremy Gardner seems to be a little bit better on the longer run. Maybe it's due to not shifting. And meanwhile, McWhorter is trying to step away from this field, but we still have 30 laps to go, so anything can happen.
Yeah, Joseph McWhorter putting together some really good lap times right now. Kind of checked out on this field, almost a full 2-second lead over our second place driver of Wesley Burke. Last lap by, he was about even on lap time with our third place driver, Jeremy Gardner. Wesley Burke actually 2/10 slower than Joseph McWhorter that last lap. So you had mentioned it. We saw Jeremy Gardner had a lot of speed on the long runs. He's actually going to try to go to the outside here, it looks like, to get around that 0-4 of Wesley Burke. If he's able to clear for that position, he might be able to put the chase on and try to go after McWhorter. But for now, Burke on the bottom, able to carry the momentum, and he's going to hold that position.
Jeremy Gardner was working the back bumper of Wesley Burke up there in front of him, just trying anything he can do to get around him. I think Jeremy knows he's a little bit faster, but this track is very difficult to pass on. You have to have the momentum getting off the corners. We'll see if he has it here as they go down the backstretch, as he'll back off and see if he can round this corner and maybe get on the inside. But Wesley Burke doing a great job defending this position. You can see almost contact there, looking for a way as he looks to the outside again as Wesley will defend that position. There's a crossover there. Jeremy Gardner going to the inside, going into one. That's exactly the opportunity that Gardner was looking for. Tried to fake Gardner out. Gardner was able to dip to the inside. I think Gardner's going to have the advantage going to the backstretch, and he does.
And he is indeed, and Gardner is carrying a lot of momentum there through the middle of the turn, just able to get his car to rotate in the way that we haven't seen out of some other guys. Wesley Burke going to look back to the inside, though, as they go through 3 and 4. He gets up on that rumble strip just a little bit. Looks like it may have upset the car just a touch. Gardner now is clear for the number 2 spot. Even with them racing side by side like that, Gardner's still running almost identical lap times to Joseph McWhorter. So if he can get a little bit of clear racetrack here, may be able to start chasing him down like we saw on that first run.
Well, speaking of clear racetrack, that's what McWhorter is not dealing with. He's dealing with lap traffic right now, probably affecting his overall speed. As he just went by Craig Bontrager, who's had a really tough night. He's got Scotty Yancey just ahead of him, about to go a lap down in the 21st position. So right now, McWhorter working on these lap cars. And, you know, when you're the leader, it's hard fighting these lap cars because they're trying to stay on the lead lap in case there's a caution. But when you're in second place, sometimes it could be a little bit easier getting around them.
Yeah, we even see that in real life NASCAR. You have a tendency to race the leader just a little bit harder, and this is definitely what Joseph McWhorter doesn't want to see. 3 wide in front of him as he comes up on some more lap traffic here. That is not going to be good for the speed, for the clean air, for the aero, for anything for that 72 car. He's going to have to try to navigate around these cars, and it's already cost him a couple of tenths here compared to Jeremy Gardner. It does get around the 12 of Claire Sisk, but they are still side by side for position directly in front of him.
Yeah, and these guys, you know, they're racing each other, so that's the problem McWhorter's dealing with is he gets on the back of the 20 there of Tyler Rice, trying to get him out of the way so he can clear this lap traffic. That's allowing Gardner to close in even closer as Gardner's now on the back of this lap traffic. Gardner has now gained over 5 tenths, and he's within 8 tenths of our leader right now. But Gardner kind of stuck behind the 46 of Bontrager, it looks like.
Yeah, Jeremy Gardner was over a second and a half back when they approached this lap traffic. Now he is going to have to navigate these same cars that Joseph McWhorter just had to get around. But as you mentioned, they have a tendency to show a little bit more leeway to the second place driver. Plus, that side-by-side position battle isn't a thing with them now. Jeremy Gardner able to make up a ton of time as he gets through the last of those cars. I want to say, all told, I think he gained about 7 tenths out of that exchange with that little pack of cars that they caught.
Yeah, and if Gardner was able to conserve those tires, or even McWhorter, this is going to be the maybe the move of the race here. As we're watching McWhorter, he's got a little bit of damage on the right rear of that car from an incident way early in this race, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the handling of that car. As we're watching another battle just behind them. Looks like the 17 of Lucas Lyons on the inside there, trying to make this move happen, and it does. He gets that car clear, and now he's setting his sights on Wesley Burke just ahead of him. These two guys have been nose to tail for the last 10 laps or so, fighting out for this final podium position here.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of contact earlier between that 0-4 of Wesley Burke and Lucas Lyons, so can't rule out that there may be a little bit more contact if Lucas is able to get up there and get side by side with the 0-4. But for now, Wesley Burke able to maintain the position. He's actually going to pull by a couple of car lengths here over the 17 of Lucas Lyons. See Lucas running a little bit higher there, just trying to find any bit of free air, any bit of grip that he can through turns 1 and 2, and just not quite able to close up on the back of that 0-4 just yet.
No, and these tires are getting greasy. You can see the 4 run out to the outside. They're diamonding the corner here a little bit. The 4 has been notorious for getting on that curve a little bit, upsetting the car as they come down the front stretch. These guys pretty much equal in each other's tire tracks here as they go into 1. We'll watch. We're riding along with Lucas Lyons here, taking a little bit lower line. This is the line I like to use. The track is not 100% like 180 here, so the track kind of undulates through there, and you're trying to find the right line. Doesn't quite have it there as they go into 3.
And Lucas Lyons, another one of our drivers with his cam on this evening. You see that Tricon truck door there in the background too behind Lucas Lyons. But yeah, you can see he's just fighting just a touch of counter steer there on corner exit, just trying to keep the car underneath of him. Drives it in really hard on corner entry, closes up. That's about the closest that he has gotten to the 0-4 in the middle of the turn, but Wesley Burke doing a nice job of carrying that momentum on exit.
Yeah, slow in, fast out, I think, is what Wesley Burke is using, and Lucas Lyons using the opposite approach. So letting these guys accordion a little bit back and forth. But Jeremy Gardner back up there in second has gotten even closer to our leader. He's running our leader down. He's just a half a second behind Joseph McWhorter right now. So this battle for the lead is really heating up, and we've got 17 laps to go as they go down the backstretch here. McWhorter now has to deal with more lap traffic in front of him. He's got Kevin Price, Dave Calvert just in front of him as he's going to try to navigate this traffic.
Yeah, Gardner has been running about a tenth of a second per lap faster so far than Joseph McWhorter, although Jeremy Gardner catches Kevin Price in probably not the most ideal spot there on corner exit. Wasn't able to use the entirety of the track, but still carried some pretty decent momentum and was actually a tenth faster that last lap as well. So 15 to go here, just as we saw on the last longer green flag run that we had. Jeremy Gardner flexing his muscles a little bit here on this long run, showing that nice long run speed, saving some tire, and he's definitely got that 72 of McWhorter in his sights to try to put some pressure on.
Yeah, and they got some more lap traffic coming up. They got Frederick Seagraves, the race winner at Talladega, our first race of the season, is about to go a lap down right now. As these two guys really, Jeremy Gardner closing up. We were just riding along with him. You see Seagraves just ahead of these two. One of the lap cars. We'll see if Seagraves gets out of the way. Seagraves taps the wall a little bit, moves to the outside. It's going to allow McWhorter to get by. Problem is Gardner going to be able to clear him to get the momentum off the corner to stay in contact? It looks like he will. Gardner's super strong on the exit.
Yeah, and even though he wasn't able to go all the way out to the wall with Jeremy Gardner, that is, still carried a lot of momentum. This is the closest that he's really been as we work through this green flag run. He has closed the gap down to within 2 car lengths. He is right there. If Joseph McWhorter makes any kind of mistake, if he catches a lap car at the wrong spot, Jeremy Gardner is going to be there to pounce. He is right on the back bumper of that 72 as they head back to the front straightaway.
Yeah, really hanging that car out. You can see that black 69. Jeremy Gardner looking to the inside. 72 tries to defend, but no doing. Gardner's got the inside going into 1. Very strong move. Gardner wants this position. McWhorter would like to hang on to it. McWhorter's, and we're under caution. Oh my God, what a time for the caution to come out.
Right as Jeremy Gardner was trying to make the pass for the lead, the 0-3 of Scotty Yancey is going to bring out our caution here as we approach 10 to go. That is going to set up a shootout to the end of this race. Let's check the V-Speed instant replay. Both he and the 20 had been going at it for position here, and just, man, that's kind of a weird spot to lose it right there. Just not something we had really seen throughout the evening. just car kind of does a little lazy spin on him there off the exit of 4.
Yeah, what a break, man. You know, that's something that Jeremy Gardner didn't want to see. And I imagine we'll see our leaders on pit lane. These tires are probably pretty old now. We're going to have 10 to go, 9 to go when the green flag drops again. So, you know, like you said, it's going to be a shootout. And it's going to be a crazy shootout because we know how cold tires have been this evening. They've kind of cut. We usually have a caution right on the first lap, opening lap on cold tires. And, you know, being at the end of the race, anything can happen. We'll see if Gardner can win the race off pit lane, but I imagine there's going to be some strategy guys out there. They're going to stay out.
Yeah, Joseph McWhorter has been really, really fast on these short runs. Got to wonder if anybody may be thinking 2 tires, if anybody may be thinking, let's roll the dice and stay out and see if we can hold them off just long enough. For now, though, looks like pretty much everybody coming down pit road. But yeah, my big question is, would anybody be willing to gamble on a 2-tire stop here? And if there's one person that I feel like would, it's the 17 of Lucas Lyons. We'll have to see if he does decide to go that route, but it looks like pretty much everybody's sticking with 4 tires here. Joseph McWhorter going to be able to win the race off of pit road.
I think everybody watching McWhorter just claw through the field on fresh tires every time with all the positions. I think everybody's like, no, we're going to take 4 tires. Even Lucas Lyons. I was thinking the same thing, that Lucas Lyons might be the guy that gamble on 2 tires. Hey, let's talk about something that Goat Locker is known for, and that's supporting our first responders and our veterans. And I also want to give a shout out to our most recent Sim Rig recipient, easy for me to say, Hamza Khan, in our Warrior Spotlight this week. Here's our latest Warrior Spotlight and most recent Sim Rig recipient, Hamza Khan. Hamza served in the U.S. Air Force for 6 years as a ground radio tech. He deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, and he was stationed in Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho, and in Osan Air Force Base, Korea. We are proud to have him here at Goat Locker, and congrats on the sim rig there, Hamza. Whew, it's going to get crazy here, Daniel. Well, I didn't know this is how this is going to finish. So, yeah, as you mentioned, McWhorter, very strong on the opening laps. Gardner's been strong bringing it home after the tires get old, and Gardner's going to start on the inside most likely. I imagine McWhorter will take the outside again. That's what he's been doing, but I don't know. You know, Gardner's been really strong down there on the bottom. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, another driver that's been really strong on these shorter runs has been that 17 of Lucas Lyons, so it'll be interesting to see. He's going to actually be restarting behind our leader. As you mentioned, Joseph McWhorter did elect to take that top groove here. So if Lucas Lyons can get the jump and can clear to second, he can time it upright with when Joseph McWhorter launches. He's going to be in position to try to make a move here. And we were setting up for a really good battle for the win between the 72 and the 69. Well, now we're setting up for a battle for the win between a whole bunch of drivers. I have a feeling that it's about to get a little bit wild here on this next restart.
I agree. And even Jonathan Cofield, last week's winner, sitting back there in 6th. Duncan Faw was strong all night in that 61 machine. He led a few laps. He's back there. So, you know, depending on how these guys get this start going, it could be, we could have a brand new winner here tonight.
Very well could have that new winner, somebody new locking their way into the chase, the playoffs, whatever you want to call it. But for now, inside of 10 to go. Lights out on the pace car. Going to make that left-hand turn onto pit road. Field will be in control of Joseph McWhorter to head to the restart zone. McWhorter with the nice jump. Lucas Lyons in that outside lane. Going to try to clear up to the number 2 position. Oh, contact between Lyons and Gardner. Lyons is around. Caution flag is going to come back out yet again.
Wow. And I seen that all develop. Gardner almost jumped the start, had to back out of it, and then tried to charge his way to keep that second place and got up high into Lucas Lyons. So tough break for Lucas.
Yeah, we'll go back and take a look at it here from the restart on the instant replay. Lucas Lyons did a nice job of timing it up to launch with the 72. Be able to see that here on this replay. So coming to that restart zone now. Jeremy Gardner had a little bit of a tap to the rear end there from the 0-4. Didn't quite get rolling the way he wanted. But going down into the turn, just, I can't really fault either driver for that. You're getting down here this late into the going. Jeremy Gardner kind of running that same line that we've been seeing him run. And, Lucas Lyons going for it, trying to clear up into that second place. So tough break there this late in the going to have that happen and to get into a spin there. But that's going to rack him up again to give Jeremy Gardner another shot at it against that 72 of Joseph McWhorter. Rest of your top 5 as they run: Eldon Stewart, Wesley Burke, and Jonathan Cofield. So going to get at least one more shot at it here. We talked about it pre-race. We've got 2 green-white checker attempts if we need them. Getting down to the point of the race where we might have to start thinking about them.
I think we'll need them tonight. Something tells me we're going to need them tonight. We'll see. But Gardner's super strong. McWhorter super strong. Eldon Stewart having a great night. Wesley Burke, as you mentioned. Cofield now finds himself. Duncan Faw, another shout out to Duncan Faw, doing a great job. Man, these guys are putting on a show tonight. It's been exciting. It's been caution filled. We kind of expected that tonight. Only 9 cautions. That's about what we had last week at Darlington. Maybe a caution over that, but we'll have about 4 to go when we send these guys back to the green flag, and it's going to be super exciting, no matter how this thing ends.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting. See if anybody decides to use the bumpers here as we get down into the final stages of this race. Joseph McWhorter yet again electing to take that top lane, try to control this restart as he has done every time so far this evening. Second row looks a little bit different now with Wesley Burke and Eldon Stewart there. Duncan Fall has worked his way back up here into contention as well after, just an absolute roller coaster evening.
Well, the lights are out atop the pace car. We might be able to set this one up for a finish here, or we're going to do a couple of green-white checkers. It's unknown at this point. McWhorter, who started in 11th, is out there on the outside. He's going to lead him to the green. Jeremy Gardner, our pole sitter, is on the inside there. Can Jeremy get the jump off the start that he didn't get last time and maybe challenge for the lead going into 1? We're about to find out as the green flag is out and McWhorter gets that jump. Just what Gardner didn't want to see. He's under pressure right now. Wesley Burke on his outside gets him clear as the 2 4 cars, the 04 and the 4 car behind him, battle it out.
It looked like Jeremy Gardner was trying to time it up to jump that restart, but didn't quite time it correctly with where Joseph McWhorter launched as they're wrecking in the back. That is the 17 of Lucas Lyons. The 50 of Kyle Deering is involved. Looks like Bobby Bender involved as well in the 96. See a couple other cars wrecking after the fact here. So that is indeed going to bring out the caution yet again in a race quickly going sideways for the 17 of Lucas Lyons. And yeah, 3 wide middle there is never where you want to be at this track, let alone 4 wide in the middle. And just, there's only so much real estate out there on the middle of the track and everybody just coming together in that 4 wide situation. And I have absolutely no idea what happened between the 03 and the 80. That was even ahead of the wreck that we saw there.
Yeah, I think there was another car that smacked the wall. There you can see the 80 gets tangled up there with the Valvoline machine and heads to the inside wall and collects up another car. And that would be, it looks like the 68. If I'm reading that number.
08 of Tyler Rice.
08, yeah.
Or the 06 rather of Tyler Rice. Apologies. Contact there with the 80. They end up getting together, and that spins around the 80 car, Kevin Price, and just, the 80 just kind of drifts up in front of Tyler there, and around he goes, and then Scotty Yancey in that 03, an innocent bystander, gets caught up in that as well.
Well, you know what we got now, Daniel? We've got a green-white checker coming up here. And the way these guys are racing, I expect we'll see both of them. So let's hope not. Let's hope Jeremy Gardner and McWhorter can battle this out along with Wesley Burke and Eldon Stewart. Duncan Fall back there now in the 5th position. So Duncan Fall having a great night. Jonathan Cofield back there in 6th. So it's still going to be tough for these guys. This track is hard to deal with. It's been hot out here tonight. Track temperature is down a little bit, a couple degrees, down to 98 degrees. So it is a little, maybe a tad more grippy, if you want to call it that, but not by much. These guys are on a few lap older tires now, so whatever grip they have now is gone. So they're just going to have to go in there and try their best to get these positions made. So let's talk about another one of our sponsors, our title sponsor of this series, Invets. Invets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for our veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They're a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work. They're the title sponsor of this series and many other series here at Goat Locker. Thank you, Invets. We are about to do it. Lights are out atop the pace car. I'll tell you what, Daniel, why don't you take us to green and see what's going to unfold here.
Well, a bit of a difference up at the front. Joseph McWhorter taking the bottom this time. First time we've really seen him do that as the control car. We'll see how well it works out for the 72. Lights are off on the pace car. We are getting ready to fire up overtime here in the Invets Xfinity series. Joseph McWhorter, the control car, he gets a great jump. He is going to clear for the lead. Battle is on for second, though, as Wesley Burke ships it down on the bottom. He is able to get alongside Jeremy Gardner. Battle is on for second, and that's exactly what Joseph McWhorter wanted to see in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what his strategy.
They're running in the back of the pack yet again. It looks like that is the 43 car of Brock Price that actually just went around. Didn't quite see what happened to him. Just noticed the car there sideways in the middle of the track. Let's go back and take a look here at what happened. Brock Price running up on that top groove. Just kind of minding his own business up there. And yeah, just a little bit of contact there with George Jewell in the 36. Just drifts up, makes some ever so slight contact with Price. And that is going to bring out yet another caution here and set us up for the second of our green-white checker attempts.
Well, here's the scenario, Daniel. With these guys having the caution come out before they can even get a lap in, this next caution, if we have one, is going to set the field. It's basically going to lock, and it's going to decide our winner. If they can keep it green, can Jeremy Gardner do anything with McWhorter? McWhorter's getting those great starts. Jeremy Gardner is going to need both those laps to get an attempt to even have any hope at this win. And then Wesley Burke looking really strong in that 0-4 machine. Those three guys, man, it's going to be tough. And all three of them are going to, except for our leader, is going to hope that caution doesn't fly. They need those two laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those, I know you already kind of touched on it, but for those watching along with this race this evening, with this being the final green-white checker attempt, if a caution does come out before we take the white flag, that's going to do it. Race is going to be over. Field will be frozen at the moment that caution comes out. If we can get around to the white flag, then that's it. We are racing back to the checker. iRacing will not throw a caution on the last lap. This ain't like real life. We don't have to worry about sending the ambulance out to anybody. So they're not going to throw the caution on the last lap. We're racing back to the win at that point. So, for the folks following along at home, we're hoping that they get back around to that white flag. We can see a proper finish here. Although, if you're the 72 of Joseph McWhorter, if you're out front and another caution comes out, you're probably not going to argue with it.
No. And if I was McWhorter, that's exactly what I'd want to happen. I want that caution immediately as soon as they take the green flag and claim that victory. It'll be his first win of the season if he can get it done. But if that caution doesn't come out, he's going to have his hands full with Gardner and Wesley Burke, as I had mentioned. And speaking of fans, Shasta Jewell out there in the chat is wishing Jeremy Gardner best of luck, saying, "Go Jeremy."
I appreciate everybody following along out there in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe to catch all the V-Speed racing action. You won't miss a thing. Got a lot of awesome series that we cover here at V-Speed, including all of the Goat Locker racing series and a lot of awesome racing. But for now, lights out on the pace car. Coming around for the final attempt at the green-white checkered finish. Can Jeremy Gardner time it up and do anything with the 72 of Joseph McWhorter? Pace car is off, heading to that restart zone. Green flag is out. Jeremy Gardner with a much better restart. He's closer this time, but so is the 0-4 of Wesley Burke. We'll see if either of them can challenge for that position. Burke is actually looking to take second. They're side by side. McWhorter directly in front, though. This race is on.
Yeah, Gardner's trying to stay on the outside, trying to keep Wesley Burke pinned down there, but Wesley Burke probably is going to have him cleared. Gardner gets out to the outside there, now under pressure with the 61, who's actually having a battle with the 4 car back there. It's Duncan Faw trying to make his way up. As we're in for the white flag lap here, as McWhorter crosses the line here, and we are still green. As you can see, Gardner back on the outside there of Wesley Burke, trying to get that second position back, coming down the backstretch. Looks like that 0-4 machine, Wesley Burke, staying strong on the inside.
Yeah, Wesley Burke had a bobble off of turn 4 that last lap around, and that was pretty much all the gap that Joseph McWhorter needed to be able to set sail from this field. Final time off of turn number 4. The win is going to go to the 72 of Joseph McWhorter, and it looks like Wesley Burke actually just got, well, maybe not. I thought Wesley Burke may have actually gotten Jeremy Gardner at the line for second. It flopped back and forth a couple of times there. Now showing Jeremy Gardner in second, Wesley Burke in fourth, or in third rather, Jonathan Cofield in fourth, and Duncan Fall rounding out your top 5 here this evening.
What a battle. We were able to get it in. We were able to get those last few laps under green. Gardner fighting for his life for that second position, but McWhorter gets his first win of the season in that 72 Camaro. You can see him coming around for the final time, going to come down the front stretch and celebrate his victory here, and we'll have a chat with him with his victory here at the end of this race after he does his burnouts.
Really dominating performance here. Started 11th, led 80 laps, able to work his way up to the front, and once he got out there, it was just about impossible to get around him.
So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with our unofficial race results, and we'll talk to our top 3.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. Invets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. Invets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about Invets, visit us at invets.org today.
And we're back live at Milwaukee with our unofficial race results. Joseph McWhorter, first win of the season, gets it done tonight. Jeremy Gardner will finish in second. Wesley Burke, heck of a run, finishes in the top 3. Jonathan Cofield will finish in fourth. Duncan Faw, another great run for him, will finish in fifth. Eldon Stewart, sixth. Barrett Morton in the 27th, started 27th, will finish 7th. Stephen Davis will finish 8th. Jamie Lipke will finish 9th. And Chuck Phelps will finish in that 10th position.
Just outside the top 10, we've got Daniel Parks finishing in 11th. George Jewell coming home in 12th. Kyle Deering in 13th. Gary Wright, kind of a quiet night for him. He's going to bring it home in 14th. Frederick Seagraves in 15th. Bobby Bender coming home in 16th. The Prices, Kevin Price in 17th. And then we've got Brock Price in 18th. Tyler Rice finishing 19th. And Craig Bontrager will finish in 20th.
In 21st, we got Aaron Yancey with Claire Sisk finishing in 12th. Dave Calvert will finish in 22nd. Dave Calvert will finish in 23rd, with Lucas Lyons finishing in 24th. Tough break for him. Scotty Yancey will finish in 25th, with Jason Kristen finishing in 26th. Doug Ellingson will finish 27th. Brandon Wallace in 28th. Andy Kurtz 29th. Chad Ashley will finish in 30th. Colton Sisk and Nick Hagan wraps out our 32-car field for tonight. Now that we're back, let's talk to our race winner, Joseph McWhorter. Do we have Joseph McWhorter in the booth? Joseph, you got a copy. Ken Huber in the booth.
Yes, sir.
Hey, great run out there tonight. Man, you were fast on those restarts. Tell us how you got it done.
Well, I mean, we've won here before in the trucks in this league. So that's now 2 for 2 on the Sunday nights. Fun track. Setup was pretty decent for being a fixed setup. We just hit our marks. We had a little bit of damage on the back end, was really making my car loose, and that was really killing me on the long run. Because we got hit on one of those pit stop cycles. I don't remember who it was by, but we had a real big moment where we were sliding and had 30 seconds of damage on the rear end. So that was kind of killing us a little bit. It was really loose, but luckily the cautions fell when we needed them. Worked out where the tire strategy wasn't really all that weird, and we just nailed our pit stops like we were supposed to, and just executed. Just took advantage on the restarts, got through really clean, and trapped some of our competition way in the back, in behind the guys that had stayed out. And that was really big for us, both, Wesley and Gardner and Lucas Lyons getting stuck in that traffic, and us just being able to carve right through it was a big help tonight. We did lose quite a bit of time in some lap traffic, which got Jeremy right on my back bumper there, and we were side by side, and luckily the caution came out when it did. Was able to take that fast repair and didn't really have that looseness after that, and just executed on the restarts.
Well, executed was the name of the game for you. That was a great run. Great first place finish. Great first win of the season. Look forward to seeing you on the road course next week. Who do you have to thank for getting you this win tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Outlier Speedco. They're an awesome partner of not only me, but you guys over at V-Speed. So go check them out in the description down below for the link there for outlierspeedco.com. Go check out their setups. Amazing stuff. Those guys have been doing a really good job all year long, building really fast race cars. Red Camel Racing, awesome partner of mine. Anything that you guys need for your real life racing, fire suits, shoes, helmets, you name it, they've got it. Go check them out at redcamelracing.com. All the admins for all the hard work, drivers for a good race, and ready to get on to next week.
All right. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Congrats again.
Thank you, sir.
All right. That was our race winner. So, Daniel, why don't we talk to our second place finisher, Jeremy Gardner?
Yeah, standing by with Jeremy Gardner. This is Daniel up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, you started first, finished second. You were absolutely killing it there on the long runs this evening. Just talk a little bit about your race and what did you need to be able to get up there and contend with McWhorter on those shorter runs at the end?
Yeah, it was a fun race. I'm just trying to learn these flat tracks a little bit better. Consistency slacks a little bit on them, but tonight I was definitely in the zone. McWhorter, I mean, I figured it was going to be me and him there towards the end. I mean, honestly, I was just watching him. He was driving in a lot harder than I was, and I kind of let that go. I sat back, and I figured he was going to burn it up in 20, 30 laps, and he did. And then I got to him, and caution flew. And I was just like, man, that sucks because, man, you start first here. It's hard to get by you. So Hate I couldn't capitalize on it, man, but second place will work.
Yeah, still a really solid run tonight. And before we let you go, congrats on the second place finish. And who you want to thank? Any sponsors or shout outs here this evening?
Yeah, Jam Printing Promotions, Invets for putting on the series. Of course, y'all guys in the broadcast booth. I can't wait to go back and watch it. Alexander PCs, my guys at Premier Racing Setups, and also apologize to Lucas Lyons. I slid up a little bit in 1 and 2, hit him. Nothing intentional, just late race aggression. So apologize to him.
All right. Well, congrats again on the solid run. And I don't know if you're running next week at Watkins Glen, but if you are, we will see you there. And again, congrats on the solid second place.
Appreciate it, man.
But there you have it from our second place finisher, Jeremy Gardner. And Kent Huber, you have caught up with our third place finisher, Wesley Burke.
Wesley, great run tonight. We watched you all night running up front there. You're basically battling the 4-car all night. You and that 4-car going to battle, but there at the end, you found yourself in third battling Jeremy Gardner. Talk about the last part of that race.
It was very chaotic. I was not really expecting to be there at the beginning because I was like 13th in practice or something like that. So qualifying 7th and then being able to run up front was really good.
Well, you did really good with the strategy tonight. It was an absolute pleasure watching you guys go at it tonight. Kept it clean, and you did what you needed to do here at Milwaukee. Who do you have to thank for getting you this podium finish tonight?
Well, I'd like to thank iRacing, NK Fire Design, SimMotion, and Invets for supporting this series and making all this happen. And I would also like to thank my 2 friends that helped design this car. So,
Well, thank you, Wesley. Look forward to seeing you next week on the road course at Watkins Glen.
yeah.
All right, that was Wesley Burke. And well, Daniel, that was quite a race. We expected some cautions. Next week, we're at the road course. Really looking forward to that. What do you expect to see at the road course next week?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the road course aces are this season in the Invets Xfinity series as we head to Watkins Glen. I know there's a couple of drivers that I would really keep an eye on. Lucas Lyons is always really fast there. It's one of his favorite tracks. I want to say Duncan Fall, the last time we ran Xfinity at Watkins Glen, he was really fast there as well. So possibility of some different drivers getting up there and throwing their hat into the ring for the win next week.
Well, we'll see if we have any ringers show up next week. But yeah, so I want to thank everybody. We got to give another shout out to our title sponsor, Invets. Helping vets in Indiana brought this race to you tonight, and also been brought to you by Lincoln Tech. Put your potential to work. And also Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. On behalf of myself, Daniel Cunningham, Eddie Smith on production, and cameras were provided by Dougie Beard. Until next week, we bid you a fair adieu. Have a good night, everyone.